I'm Mike.
And I'm Adam.
And this is Stuff and Waffle. Two friends talking about stuff, and often as not, waffling with frequent reference to Bond cars. I saw today that Vauxhall, not the most interesting of car manufacturers, you might say, but Vauxhall are selling off a load of cars from their heritage collection.
Great.
Yeah, I knew you'd be excited. I know you're going to want to go to the auction. I know. You're going to be head of the queue there for the Nova Merit.
And they couldn't even muster a GSI or a GT or something like that.
No. It's a Merit in white, 3-door. It's apparently absolutely mint, but white. It's steel wheels. It's got it all. And from the picture, the driver's door doesn't quite fit properly, so very authentic. It's it's looking good. And some of them are a little bit more classic than that. There's a 1966 Viva in there, which apparently they say that they are trying to create the whole "my dad had one of those" vibe. Struggling a little bit there. There's some older stuff. There's a 1929 R-Type. That's a bit slightly more interesting, I suppose.
Yeah, I'll give them that.
Into the General Motors era a bit later on. There is an Amiga, quite like the Amiga.
Is it the V6 at least?
Well, it doesn't say. Unfortunately, it is gold, which is perhaps not the best color you could choose. But
mind you, it's a proper dull color. It's very fitting for a bit of plainclothes police back in the 90s.
That's true. They did use a lot of those, didn't they? Yes, they used a lot of those. This one's got alloys on it, though, so probably not police. They wouldn't have gone for that. Because, police spec would have been top engine spec, wouldn't it? But not trim-wise.
No.
It would have been steel wheels and velour interior, and it wouldn't have been the one you'd want, would it? Really?
Maybe it was the chief inspector's car.
Could be. Well, no, that would have been a Jag.
Well, that's true, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Or later on, a Lexus, because obviously you'd have been in the Masons. So.
Yeah, a bit of handshaking under the knee. Yeah,
there you
very
go.
Good.
All of that. Yeah, all of that. Lexus were big for that. It's
true.
You can't argue with that. There is a van in the lineup, which is interesting.
Is it?
Well, I say interesting. The only interesting thing about it, and again I use the term loosely, is that it was the last one built. It was the very last Vivaro that they ever built, last one off the line.
Okay.
They've got that, and they've given it the registration number LA55ONE, which I thought was quite cute. There's a Frontera in there, but mostly it's a sea of dreariness, I'm afraid.
Oh, that is a shame. There's nothing there that makes you go, oh yeah, it's a bit of me.
No. There's no Carltons or anything like that, no Senators, not even a Cavalier SRI that you might,
Yeah, at least one of the hot ones would be lovely, wouldn't it?
No, nothing like that.
I'm just skimming the article now. I found it.
Yeah, it's not great. And apparently they're doing it because they're moving location and they won't have the space for them all at the new place. Or could it be that they just need to clear out some of the dreary old claptrap that they can't be bothered to store anymore?
It's a sea of dull. I'm skimming.
It really is.
Again, I can't get too excited, but there's a Tigra there.
There is a Tigra there in quite an interesting colour. It's a kind of bright metallic green.
Not a bad colour, but it is still a Corsa, really.
It's still a Corsa with a slightly bent body. Yeah. Yeah. I do struggle to get excited about Vauxhalls. I know there's lots of people that love them and really follow them, but no.
There are more interesting ones than what are on offer here, to be honest.
Yeah, this is true. Yes, this particular collection contains very little. But then I guess if there was anything really interesting, they're not going to be selling it, are they? So
Well, that's the problem. I hope they're not sort of pinning too much hopes on raising a lot of cash.
Yeah, there's not a lot there that's going to fetch much, is there?
No, some of these really old ones, maybe. I don't really know enough about them.
I don't. I mean, the 1929 R-Type, I've never even heard of.
No. I mean, yes, it looks like an old car, but I don't know. Any value in it? Or
was it any good? I have no idea. No. I'm tempted even to pop that into eBay and see if there is one. I bet there isn't. I bet there isn't. I mean, why would you?
Well, you wouldn't.
No, you just wouldn't, would you? No, there isn't. So, there's some bits, but not a whole one.
Okay.
I'm afraid. No.
Be interesting to see when this kicks off then. It says April 27th is the actual auction. So
yeah, we'll have to see what goes for what. But
and there are no reserves apparently, so they will actually sell for what they're worth. So.
Oh well, they're being realistic then. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's a bit of the Amiga's all right. I don't mind the Amiga, but
and I've just skimmed. It is the V6.
It is the V6. Well, you see, that'd be all right. That'd be all right. They're quite solid, but yeah, the rest of it, no, I don't think so.
No, that can all just not for me.
Now, Mitsubishi are doing the same thing. They're selling off loads of cars from their heritage collection because they're, of course, pulling out of the UK market.
Yes, I saw this. This is more interesting. There are some desirable vehicles in that lot.
Yes, that's got a bit more going for it, hasn't it? Yes.
Yes, let's have a quick skim of that because in this one, then we could have a nice little game here of which one would you have.
That's true. Yeah, we can't play that game with the Vauxhall collection.
No, you could just get to the end and go, no, you're right, Tom.
Yeah, I'll leave it. Thanks. But the Mitsubishi one, yes, there's a bit more going on there. There's yes, I'm just looking at it now. There's first thing I've spotted is a Starion.
Oh, I see. It's a strong start.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. That's very nice. I like that very much indeed.
Well, it's pure 80s, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. And this one is
really nice styling.
Red. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Chunky. Chunky. You get the impression that could take a few knocks and it'd be all right.
Yeah, you're in safe hands.
Yeah, solid. I mean, the earlier stuff, it was always quite heavily American influenced, wasn't it? Like a lot of Japanese cars, they were very influenced by the American styling, but smaller. They were like sort of smaller versions, if you like, of some of the American cars.
Yeah.
They were heavily influenced by American cars of the 1970s. You know, twin headlights and flared wheel arches and all that kind of stuff. They look like American muscle cars.
They do indeed. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a lovely thing. We've got some Shoguns there, is that?
Looks like it. Yes, it looks like there's a it looks like there's a fully kitted out L200 there, but like with winch on the front and huge tires, and it's jacked right up in the air.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks
lovely.
Oh, looks heavy duty.
Oh, you know what else is there? Is that a Fev?
There's an Outlander there, yeah.
Terrific.
Or the Taxlander, as it's called, yeah.
Why is that in the bloody collection?
That is a bit strange, isn't it?
Take it away.
Nobody who's bought one of those is the slightest bit interested in any environmental benefits because it doesn't have many. It's just dull, isn't it? Really
dreadful. Would you then? We move on. There's a 3000 GT, is it?
Oh, it looks like it, doesn't it? Yes, it looks like it. And we have several
Evos through the generations.
Yeah, several Evos.
10, an 8, and a 6 there.
You could well be right. Yeah, you could well be right. That's nice. Now, there's a couple of older ones there that I don't recognise. I'm guessing they're Colts.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I found them. Yeah. They're going to be early. Yeah, they're going to be either early Colts or Gallants.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right in both senses, because I think one was badge Colt Lancer and one was badge Colt Galant.
That's right. I've just found it on the list. Actually, it's a 1974 Colt Lancer. Nice.
Yeah, they do look really good. Actually,
That's a tasty collection. Actually,
Mm.
with the exception of the Outlander, that's you'd be interested in pretty much any one of those.
You would. However, I'm going to make you pick one.
Well, that's easy. It'd be the Starion.
Oh,
It'd absolutely be the Starion.
No ifs, buts, and ums.
No messing there. It'd be the Starion.
Lovely.
Absolutely. The Evos would be fun on an occasion, but I think over time I would get fed up with them because they're always kind of on it, if you know what I mean. They're always, unless you drive those on the ragged edge all the time, you're not really getting the best out of them. Whereas the Starion, I think, would be more enjoyable more of the time.
It's an all-round vehicle, that one.
Yeah, I think so. You could daily that.
Oh yeah, easily. I'd say it's not too old that it's going to become an irritation. It's not a complicated vehicle. It's not a 3000 GT, because they are renowned for being complicated little buggers.
Yeah, that would be horrific to daily. Rust would be your biggest problem to watch with a Starion, to be honest. It'd be the bodywork, not the mechanicals. That'd go on forever, but the bodywork would fall to pieces around you. That's the problem.
Yeah, you want to keep an eye out for the salted roads in that one.
Yes, you'd have to be careful. But no doubt in my mind there, that's what I'd go for. Yeah, I'd have the Starion out of that collection.
Excellent choice.
And yourself?
Oh, see, I'd have to go down the rallying route, and it'd be that. Without question, it would be the Evo 6 Tommy Mackinnon edition they've got there.
Very good. Yes, very good. Well, you're more of a motorsport kind of guy than I am.
Yeah, I get what you say about it being on all the time, but I
think it would be fine, as what it is as a toy. But I think to daily, you would struggle. But I do accept very, very good at what it is intended to do.
I get the feeling, though, I would probably end up at some point in a hedge on fire.
Oh, absolutely. No question. Yeah, backwards through a hedge, upside down, on fire. Yeah, that's probably how it would end.
Yeah, and the dying words would have been, "Watch this."
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yes. Watch this. Yes. Backwards through a hedge, on fire. Yep, absolutely. Oil everywhere. Yes. And I'd just pull up in my Starion and say, well,
chose the wrong car.
I knew that. Yes, I told you.
That's really helpful. Thank you for that.
And then my front wing would fall off, and I'd drive home. Yeah. We were talking the other day about cars that we wished we'd owned and never did. Well, I had a friend who did actually manage to get the dream car at quite a young age. He did the sensible thing and bought the sports car before family.
Whereas, right? Yeah. The way to do
it. Most of us can't afford it at that age, and then have family, and then are too knackered to fit in it later in life. But he managed it, and he was a huge petrol head. We've since lost touch in recent years due to divorce and things.
You divorced him?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. No, not my divorce. His. Anyway, not telling that story. He was a big petrol head, and he had some quite interesting cars. He had a Renault 11.
Oh,
yeah. And a Citroen ZX, which was weirdly rust resistant. It was very strange. It got bashed one day, and it had a scrape on the bonnet, right down to the metal, and he never did anything about it. And it was like a year later, and it hadn't rusted. It was as shiny as the day it was done. It was bizarre, that car. It had weird rust resistant properties. Yes. That eventually went, and he, sort of traded up a bit, and he managed to get himself a TVR Chimera.
Oh,
A 1998 Chimera in silver with the 4-litre Rover V8, because TVR used a number of different engines.
But
his had the Rover V8. Now that was quite a thing.
Just to make sure I get my models right, Chimera, was that the convertible one?
Yes, it was. Yep. It was convertible indeed. Silver with a black leather interior. He had very nice looking thing.
Lovely cars.
Made an unbelievable noise.
Dirty, I bet, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely filthy. Yeah, absolutely. Quite a wet noise. You know what I mean? Quite a
sloppy.
Yes. No. Yes. If it wasn't coming out the back of a TVR, you might advise someone to go and see a doctor. Yes.
Oh dear.
Yes. That sort of noise. Anyway, his wife of the time, who was not a petrol head in any way, shape, or form, but she wanted to drive this thing, and she, at the time, her car was a Metro. The TVR was not really what she was used to.
No.
And he let her drive it on a stretch of road that was that has the intermittent overtaking lanes. So,
for God's sake,
you get the overtaking lane that disappears again at the top of the hill, and then you're just 2 lanes again, and then you get the the middle third lane. Very dangerous way to design a road, but there's a lot of
there are.
Anyway, let her drive the TVR on this particular stretch of road, but unfortunately she drove it the way she drove her Metro. So on the straight bits where people couldn't overtake, she was pootling along at 35, 40 miles an hour, everybody trying to get round and couldn't. And she'd then come to the hill where the overtaking section is, and like she had to do in her Metro, she'd plant her foot, and this thing would just disappear over the horizon, giving nobody any chance to get past her at the point that they could. And then she'd slow down again, and they'd all catch her up. And there she is at 35 miles an hour again. And this went on for miles and miles.
Oh, I bet she was popular.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was not good. That car, unfortunately, met a very unfortunate end. It got absolutely smashed to pieces in the French Alps. That's not to say it was involved in a horrific accident and there was nobody hurt or anything like that, but somebody just ran into the back of them. And of course, it's fiberglass.
It's fiberglass on a tubular chassis, isn't it?
Yeah, and it literally just disintegrated. There was just bits of it everywhere. It just literally fell apart, and that was the end of it. And he replaced it with a Saab. So,
it's a bit different, isn't it?
A Saab 9.5 Estate, I seem to remember. But he'd kind of tick the box with the Savage sports car, and he sort of got to the point, all I really want now is a comfy chair. So Saab it was.
Well, I can't knock him for that.
No, it's a fair point.
No, that's why I like my car.
There you go. Much the same.
Yeah,
much the same. Now, there was you mentioned your car as being your favourite a little while ago, but you never said what it is. And even though I've seen it loads of times, I'm not actually sure what model it is.
Oh, that's true, because it is debadged, actually.
Oh, well, there we are. That's probably why I haven't got it then.
Yeah, that's it. It was originally it was owned by someone at Volvo when it came off the line.
Oh, okay.
Many moons ago in 2005.
Yeah. Good year for cars, 2005.
Oh, that's a good one. And it was it's a V70 D5.
Okay. That's good. Our listener might have been interested. That was all.
Yeah, it's a valid point. There's me assuming that everyone knows which Volvo I've got.
Yes, there is more than one.
Yeah. No, there we go. No, that's my one's the best one. You see, yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah. It's the only way to travel. Yes.
Oh, it is. Like I whinge about everyone else's car when I on long journeys. Sorry, and just adore that thing for that sort of stuff.
Volvo all the way for you, isn't it? Volvo all the way. Are you going to be tempted to test drive the Polestar?
I'd be interested. Obviously, with news this week, with Volvo saying they're going all electric anyway.
All electric by 2030, yeah. That's 5 or 6 manufacturers now that have pledged that.
But, I mean, the only thing that bothers me about that is that having been in a few modern Volvos, they're just not as comfy.
They're not as good, yeah. That is a shame. Comfort does seem to have very much been pushed aside in favour of sporty handling, whatever that is.
No, it's weird like that. Because having driven a V90, go, well, you can change the driving modes in that. You can make it quite soft and just easy going. But that doesn't change the fact that the seat is like sitting on
doesn't make the seat
concrete
soft.
plinth.
No, that is so often the problem, isn't it? That rock hard seems to be better.
Yeah, it's very strange. And the gearbox in that is atrocious. Doesn't know what it's doing. Too many gears. Can't bloody pick one. And when you need it to change, it can't be asked. You think, oh, what is the point?
Dear. That doesn't sound very nice. No.
Not so good on that front, but there we go.
Pity.
Not mine. Happy days.
Yes, indeed. And you probably won't have a Volvo next time. So
no, probably not. Not unless they really ramp up their production of electric ones and make the seats comfortable.
Yeah.
It's probably not then.
Seems unlikely, doesn't it, really? Yeah, it's a shame. But everything is changing, isn't it, in the car industry? Everything is changing. Nothing's going to be what it was before. Some manufacturers won't exist. Some manufacturers will, but they'll be producing very different products. We are in a great time of flux from that point of view.
Yes, indeed. It's exciting, but there's some things where you just think, for the love of God, stop building SUVs. I don't care what brand you are, just pack it in.
Just stop it. Yes, just stop it. They're not better. They're just not. And everybody says, "Oh, sit up higher." Well,
good for you. Put a cushion under your ass.
Yes, exactly. But the only reason you want to sit up higher is because everyone else is sitting up higher, because everyone's driving an SUV.
Oh, dear.
Estate cars all the way.
With none being produced that I particularly want to get in.
Yeah. I mean, the only closest really is Porsche's the Cross Turismo that they've just announced. They're calling it an SUV crossover, but it isn't. It's an estate car. You just have to look at it to see. It's a Taycan estate.
Yeah, the proportions are all there. Lovely.
That is tremendous. But it's too expensive and the range isn't good enough because it's not efficient enough.
Bugger to charge over here as well.
Yes, indeed. Lots of places you can charge it, but not quickly.
Well, that's the thing. It's the speed that hits you. And you go,
yes,
let's give it a full charge in about an hour.
Yes, it'll charge in 10 minutes if you can find an 800-volt charger, and we don't have any, or not many.
No, I think at last count, I think, what was it, 4?
Yeah,
in the UK.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem with it. It's a lovely thing, but it doesn't go far enough, and on a long journey, it's going to be an enormous pain in the bits, and it's disappointing. But hopefully, they will attend to that.
Fingers crossed. That would be nice, because it is. I mean, it's a nice looking thing.
It is. Really like how it looks. It's a shame it's a saloon and not a hatch.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did that. Maybe to set it aside from the Cross Turismo, which of course is a hatch.
Yes. I suppose. Yeah, that's a good. It differentiates them quite nicely into two classic styles, really.
Yeah, saloon and estate. I think that's brilliant.
It's a nice really touch.
Good. Yeah, it is. They deserve to do well with that. They just need to get the range up a bit, because the range isn't really good enough to be competitive. Pretty much everything else in its price bracket can go at least 100 miles further on a charge, and that's quite a lot.
Yeah, that's sizable, isn't it?
That's a big difference. Yeah, they need to sort that, but it's a lovely looking thing, and by all accounts, is brilliant to drive. I would very much like to drive one. As soon as we're able to be out and about in the world, I would like to get on that. Yes,
that's the thing, though, isn't it? that's why it's going to sell, because you'd rather have that. I mean, of all the sort of premium ones that are kicking about, I mean, like for instance, the Audi. Now I'm right.
The new e-tron GT. Yeah.
I struggle with that. I mean, I just struggle with Audi in general, really.
Yes, I do. I'm not a big fan of Audi.
With one exception, actually.
Yeah.
What it harks back to estates. I'd love an RS6 with the V10.
Oh, an Avant.
Mm.
Yeah, they did do some nice estate cars, some nice fast estate cars. Yeah.
Well, that was essentially the Gallardo engine, wasn't it?
I believe it was, actually, yeah. Well, they're all the same group, aren't they?
Well, that's it.
Yeah,
and you think, well, a big estate car with a Lamborghini engine, yeah, I'll get on board with that.
That could work.
Yeah.
Yes, that could work. It's kind of surprising that Audi and Porsche are at the moment with with Audi with their e-tron range and Porsche now with their Taycan range. They're kind of producing the same car, but they're from the same group.
Yeah, but I suppose
the branding is very different, isn't it? And a lot of people will buy the Taycan because it's a Porsche.
Yeah, and I'm guilty in the sense of if I could afford it, that would be the one I would buy.
Well, that's the other problem with it, of course, isn't it?
Yes,
it's the price. That's the problem. The Model S is half the price and will do twice the range, and has a dedicated charging network. Yeah, that's a problem.
It is a problem, but I still think the badge.
Yeah, it will sell.
It will sell.
It will.
And I'm guilty enough to say that it would make me think twice.
I have heard tell of a few disgruntled Porsche owners at charging stops being somewhat disappointed, because I don't think car dealers are giving people particularly good information on charging.
No, I bet they're bloody useless.
I think they're just telling them, you charge anywhere with this. Well,
just plug it in.
You can, but
no. Well, I think it's lack of knowledge, isn't it?
Yes, it probably is. Yeah, and maybe even lack of training from their manufacturer.
Yeah, that too.
And of course, car dealers, the business model is very much based on selling, servicing, and warranty. And EVs don't need a lot of servicing.
Well, that's the problem these days, because car dealers don't make a huge amount of money off of new cars. They make money off of maintaining cars.
Hardly anything. Less than 1% in most cases. It's a tiny amount of money. They make more from selling you a finance deal than they do on the car.
Yep, that's it. And
a service package, and an extended warranty, and all the.
That's where the money is.
Yes,
the maintenance that you make it back on the labour there.
But EVs don't need a lot of maintenance.
That's that buggered.
It's going away, which is why so many manufacturers are now selling their EV offerings directly online.
Well, it makes sense.
Just order it through the website, and it'll be delivered to you, and it completely cuts the dealership out the process altogether. Yeah, that business model has got a problem, I think.
It's a bit unfortunate for the people who are employed in there.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely, it is. And all the good people that work in dealerships. But there's going to have to be some sort of shift there in order for that to continue. And I think people will still want to go somewhere and physically look at a car and do a test drive. And, I don't think the need for a showroom is going to go away. A lot of people won't want to order a car online, especially something as new and different as an EV.
No, I think that's interesting, because I think you and I would very much like a test drive. But you probably think, a generation ahead, I bet they wouldn't even think twice about going on and clicking buy and having it delivered.
No, probably not. I mean, I don't know whether the young folk of today, how interested they are in cars at all, for the most part, because they kind of don't need them. I don't know. I think the whole ownership model is going to go away.
It's all going to be lease, isn't it?
Yeah. Or you just call it up when you need it, and it will come round on its own. You just order it, just say, I need a car on an app, and one will arrive.
Yeah, I've got that. It's Uber.
Yes. Yeah, that sort of already exists. Yeah, absolutely. That's existed for a long time. It's called minicabs. Yes. Oh, look, there's a driver. Oh, I never noticed you. But times they are changing.
They are, and I do worry. I think there's more than enough of us petrol heads left around. Like you say, I do worry that the youth, might not be into cars as much as we'd like. I mean, I suppose at least there's always going to be motorsport to make them interested.
Yeah,
there's always going to be that, no matter how it's propelled along.
There's a lot of electric motorsport getting going now, isn't there? So I don't think that's going to go away. No, I think people, as you say, as long as it will move under its own power, I think people will want to race it.
Yeah, we all love a bit of that, so why not?
Don't think that'll go away. I think the ownership model is going to change long term.
I think so.
And of course, with so many cars now running on software, you can add and remove features at will. I mean, Tesla are already talking about making autopilot a subscription service that you can turn on and off. You know, you rent self-driving when you're going to do a big motorway trip, and the rest of the time you turn it off.
It's a really good idea, actually.
Pay for it when you pay for features when you need them, and they can be turned on and off in the car remotely. That's very clever, and that's a nice idea. That genuinely is new for the car world.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, there was a couple of years ago when there was all the terrible flooding and tornadoes in America. Tesla were remotely increasing the range of people who bought cheaper Teslas with restricted range, where the batteries were artificially software restricted. Because Tesla have done that a few times. They've sold cars with restricted battery sizes, but in fact they fitted the big battery and they just restrict it in the software.
They were quite crafty.
They were remotely unlocking the additional range in people's cars for free, so they had as much range as possible to get out of the danger area, which I thought was good. Yeah, that was terrific. Yeah,
they certainly didn't have to.
No, they didn't. And then, of course, they'd lock it up again afterwards. But you can, with those cars, you could buy an upgrade, and you pay them a few £1,000, and they'll unlock the battery for you, and you've got its full capacity. But for a few times, they've done restricted range cars that are cheaper. You buy it with a 60 kilowatt battery, but it is actually fitted with an 85.
Okay.
And they just restrict it. But yeah, they were unlocking cars so people could get out of the way of the danger, which was
fair
fantastic.
Fair play. I like that.
Can't knock them for that. I've been having a bit of a rummage in our garage lately because we're supposed to be cleaning it out because we got this idea we might convert it into a room, but nothing has really happened on a practical front to enable that yet.
I can't imagine you've barely touched it, have you?
No, not really.
No,
not really. There's a lot of crap in there. It's going to take a while. But having had a sort of look in a few boxes and opened a couple of drawers just to, show willing, it occurred to me that I've got a lot of bits for cars that have long since gone. And I don't know why I keep this stuff, but I sort of do. It's sort of like, it might come in handy. I do not need the passenger side sun visor from a 2005 Ford Focus. But there it is.
Well, you say you don't. You chuck that away, someone will be knocking at your door going, "Come on, you still got that sun visor?"
Yeah, for the 2005 Focus. Yeah. It'd be really good if I can have that.
No, I know what you mean.
You do just sort of keep this stuff, and I don't quite know why. I have a frightening number of screws and caps for fixing number plates. I've got all sorts of jacks. I've got a jack which has a Mercedes logo on it. I have no idea which car that came from because I've never owned a Mercedes, but I seem to have a Mercedes jack and wheel brace.
That's a bit random.
It is. I can't remember. It must have been in a car, but I can't remember where it came from. I've never owned a Mercedes, so why do I have an original badged Mercedes jack?
Do you reckon that was from a second-hand vehicle and someone had just lobbed it in the boot?
It must have been. Yeah, it must have been, but I can't think what car that would have been. But yes, it must have come from there. I also have the ashtray and the sort of full assembly for a Jaguar X-Type.
So your one came with an ashtray.
It came with an ashtray which had like a cover on it that you could flip down, because it was ashtray, lighter, and there was like a little storage box that went in the front underneath the radio and all the buttons.
Yeah.
Underneath there, and it had a door on it, the sort of fold down flat. And I seem to remember that mine had a really bad scratch on it, and I managed to get another one, but I could only get the whole assembly. I couldn't just get the front piece.
Right. Okay.
So I think that's why I've got it.
That makes more sense, because obviously these days, in new cars like that, you have to spec the smoker's pack.
Indeed.
And I would never have pegged you as buying that car with a smoker's pack.
No, I think it was standard on the. I don't think it was. I call it a cigarette lighter. I don't think it was. I think it was a charge port, but it, we all know. It is a cigarette lighter. It's just what you stick in it.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah, because like now, like my Volvo, it's never had the lighter element. All it's got is a little cap that says 12 volt on it, and that's it.
Exactly. Yeah, and certainly the Tesla has that. The Jag XF had that, and I think the X-Type had that as well. But as I say, it wasn't that I needed. That was all fine. It was the cover.
Just a cover, yeah.
I wanted to get one that wasn't scratched. And they're quite hard to find because they're really easy to scratch. So to find one that isn't scratched, and I think even the replacement I had was still scratched, but it wasn't scratched as badly as the one I had.
Oh, dear.
I did a lot of things on that car to try and make it a little bit better. I remember I replaced all the rubber door trim on the outside because it's a common X-Type fault where it all kind of bubbles up and sort of distorts and gets out of shape. And I ordered a complete set for right round the car, direct from Jaguar, and went round and replaced the whole thing. Replaced all the rubber window seals, and it looked much better after that. I did a lot of little bits to that car just to make it a bit less rough around the edges. But I've kept a lot of them. And again, I think I still have the original rubber door seals for that. Why would I keep that? But I think I do. I've got numerous old number plates. Always keep number plates. Number plates for cars going back decades.
Well, that's a nice thing, though, that, isn't it?
I quite like that. I always like the idea that I'll mount them on the wall one day. But I haven't got around to it. But
no, that's a nice touch. As long as you're not mounting them to cars and going and committing crimes, you're probably all right.
Well, obviously, I wouldn't talk about that on a podcast.
No. We're not meant to broadcast that.
No. If I was doing that, I'm not going to say. But yes, a wide variety of plates are available. But I do have a bit of a collection of stuff. In fact, some of the old mini parts I was keeping, I actually gave to you a little while ago.
You did indeed, yes. Which have become attached.
That's excellent. I'm very pleased to hear that. I was finally able to give them to somebody who might actually be able to use them.
The high vis is still in its bag.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I only bought that because we were planning at the time a trip to Europe, and of course, in France you have to carry. Vis.
Safety first.
That's absolutely. It's never been worn, however.
No, no, much the same. The amount of times we've been to France and with a car packed full of unopened things that are utterly pointless. The amount of those breathalyzer kits I've got now.
Yeah, of course.
Ridiculous.
Well, stupid thing is, don't they insist that you have to carry spare bulbs?
Yeah. Because of that, I've always got a bulb kit in the car at the moment, which is it's actually come in handy. I'll give them that.
But so many modern cars now use LEDs.
You
still have to carry a bulb kit.
Yes, fortunately, my car's old enough to be useful in that sense.
My friend Richard, who also has a Tesla, and he's been to France with it several times, and he carries a bulb kit for a completely different car because there is no bulb kit for a Tesla because it uses LED lights.
They don't think, do they?
A bulb kit off eBay. I don't even know what car it's for, but it certainly isn't for the car that he's driving.
No, you'd be hard pushed to plug a bulb in anywhere.
No bulbs anywhere on that. No, it's all screens and LEDs.
Deary me. Yes, they haven't thought that through. But there's also a strange rule, I believe. If there's a sort of common fault or a known problem with a particular type of car that the French have listed on their systems, you apparently have to be carrying a spare whatever it is that's likely to go wrong.
Oh dear.
I'm sure I've read that somewhere.
Yeah, but with some cars, that would mean you'd have to tow a trailer.
Oh, yeah. A French car, for instance.
Indeed. That's where they got the rule from, because all their own cars are like that. I've bought an old Lancia.
Oh, God, you might as well tow a donor car.
I was going to say, you might as well there's a van behind you and a team of mechanics, just in case.
Good God.
I've never heard that before. That's ridiculous.
You can believe it, though.
Oh, I can. I'm sure it's true. I have no doubt of that, but it doesn't stop it being ridiculous. Dear.
I'm not saying anything.
No,
lovely place.
Lovely, absolutely. It is. It's a lovely place.
That's an excellent choice of wording there.
Not so sure about some of the decisions that get made there. Yes, that's weird. But I do have a bit of a collection. The other thing, of course, that we all build up, and I'm sure you're the same, is Haynes manuals.
Yeah, we've got a few now.
I've got a few. There isn't one for the present car, but I've got I've got numerous Escort ones and a Mini one and a X-Type one, all on the shelf. Because you never know.
Oh, you never know. And on top of that, what else have I got? I've got Haynes manuals as well as the ones for the cars. I've got Thunderbird's Haynes manual, Millennium Falcon, and an Imperial Star Destroyer as well.
Oh, the Workshop Teardown manual. You never know.
You never know. No, that's it. It's very important to know where the Kazi is on Thunderbird 2.
Absolutely. And how to repair it.
Very useful.
Very good. Excellent. Yes, you never know. You can never be too careful. that knowledge could be critical one day.
Yes, it could. Yeah.
Yes.
I was trying to think about car parts we've got. One thing that's constantly in the way that actually is probably reasonably rare is a parcel shelf for an MGZR without any speaker holes in it.
Now that one might be quite sought after in the right circles.
Yeah, I really should pop that on eBay.
Yeah, you should. Somebody might be able to make really good use of that and cut some holes in it for speakers.
Oh, actually, no, you say that. I think there is also one in there with holes in it. So if they've got 6x9s, absolutely fine.
You can set them right up. Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else we've got. There are a few bits and bobs. So I've got the MGZR. I've got the heat shield from the engine bay because it snapped and couldn't reattach it.
Okay.
I don't know why I've still got it.
You do, though, don't you? You do keep this stuff. I don't know.
We tried to get a hold of a few relays because it had the odd issue, but now we've got lots of relays, none of which ever fitted that one. So you never know. They
weren't even useful when you bought them.
No, but they might fit something, so we'll keep those.
You never know. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll tell you what I do have. It's not off of a car that I own, or at any point anyone I know owned. Actually, it was. I've got a wheel nut off a 1998 Benetton Formula One car.
Wow. Okay. Did you sneak into the pits and pinch it when they weren't looking?
No, it was a family member. Who was it? It was my uncle. There we go.
Okay.
He has friends who worked there at the time, and they gave him a little tour, and he got a bit of a keepsake. And my uncle's an engineer, and while he found the whole sort of thing fascinating, he's more of a motorbike guy than a car guy.
Okay.
And donated the wheel nut to me.
Oh, fantastic! That's quite a thing.
Yeah, I still have that as a desk ornament. It's beautifully crafted. Doesn't weigh anything. It's really
Perfect.
impressive.
Yeah.
Nice
Well,
little
things
trinket.
keep that. Yes, that's lovely. Yeah. Well, that's different. You see, that's a keepsake, isn't it? That's something special. That's not just junk.
No, that's it. And you just try and think back to the '98 season, going, "Do I remember any Benettons with their wheel falling off?" And actually, no, it's fine. It's not a problem. It wasn't an important one.
It wasn't unscrewed when no one was looking.
No.
Well, I think that's probably enough of that for this week. Check us out on all the various social medias and things. Thank you very much for listening.